Well, inspiration and hope, of course, quite very vital instruments when it comes to the growth and development of any personnel in whatever sector you're actually doing. You could be doing something, you could be carrying your best, or in any other way. In terms of that, it's very important for you to be inspired. But of course, before we get inspired, don't forget Zabu, which just make your training experience much more easy. Start 292# is the magic code. As you will be available with lots of options. You can buy government bonds and securities at all tax, any of your choice that you feel like. With just as little as 15,000, you get shillings. Now the markets open at 8:15. That is AM till 3:15 p.m. East African time, Monday to Friday, except from the weekends when they don't operate, and also on the public holidays actually, when they're not in position to operate efficiently. Zabu, do something new for yourself this year, 2023. Of course, we need to find other ways of doing business. We can't keep on doing business the same way that we used to do it. Zabu, my money, my future, Alltex East Africa, do something new. Well, that's regarding that. Now, getting inspired in a way, definitely, like I was telling you, it's very, very vital. Inspiration and hope, very key elements when it comes to somebody's well-being. And how far can you manage your business? I know so many times you could be running this business and you feel like you almost feel like you want to give up. Let me say that, because the situations don't seem to be moving in like the way you anticipated. But definitely, I want you to understand that you're not the first person to actually go through that very aspect of what you're doing. Quite very many people have also gone through the various steps that you're taking. But what really makes them distinct from other people is how they embrace the challenges, how they embrace the difficulties, and it turned out to be quite a golden opportunity for them to get to where they are actually heading. Now let's get straight into our business tip of the day, and let's take a look. What does it really say? Like, remember, these are tips that were written by people based on their personal experience. Well, let's get through our business tip of the day. Now, the business tip of the day today says that the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Now, the secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and then start on the first one. Yeah, and of course, I know for some of you this may not be new to you, but I want you to know that every time we put this out, it comes from other perspective. It comes from different angles, different dimensions, according to how you can really view it in a way. Now, you have to get started definitely. When you talk about an idea, you talk about you want to start up this company, you want to do this. That means you have to really get started. And now when you started, definitely there are what we call long-term visions and short-term visions. But however much we can have visions over, I want to make 1 billion shillings, it's not something you're just going to be talking about. What are those steps that you implement, that you break down on a daily basis, whereby every day you live, you're living a step towards becoming a billionaire? Of course, you're not going to get 1 billion overnight. It doesn't matter how strategic you are when it comes to that. It will take time. It will take time for you to make the money. But once you organize yourself and you break down your tasks into smaller, manageable tasks, that would mean that on a daily basis you will be heading towards becoming a billionaire. You'll be heading to a stop towards becoming a billionaire, day by day, slowly by slowly. And now, before you know it, everything will be very okay, very efficient. That's why it's very important for you to have the day-to-day tasks which lead you into your vision in the future to come. Well, that is our business tip of the day, and now let's wind this up as we take a look at the business quote of the day. Now, the business quote of the day today says that this is Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison is actually the founder of, skipped my mind, his invention. But anyway, let's take a look at what does he have to say. I have not failed. I have just found, and that is 10,000 ways that won't work. Wow, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. It's very interesting. The way you view life will actually be the same way that it will be presenting matters towards you, and that's what always creates a distinction between the resilient people and the volatile people when it comes to taking action and when it comes to pursuing a dream. Thomas Edison says, I have not failed, but I've just found out other ways that don't seem to work. So that means during that journey, I'm trying to pursue something. I'm still finding out. I have not failed. I'm searching. Have done the work to realize that this way doesn't work. And discovering something that doesn't work is part of the job, to success. It's part of the path to success. So you get to see how important that is. Very, very influential when it comes to how you think. Now, with that mindset, there is no way you're going to feel discouraged over uncertain issues, regarding any matters. By all means, you'll find yourself in a place of being encouraged in a way, because whenever something doesn't work out, you just went out to investigate that it actually can't work out, but you didn't fail. However much you could, of course, deem yourself a failure, start to think yourself of you start to think of yourself less than what you ought to. At the end of the day, that is going to discourage you, and your self-esteem is going to be in a way tampered with, and once that is gone, life might turn out to be quite very, very difficult in a way. Well, 7 minutes past 8 a.m. still driving your business in here with the latest information, and definitely which you can employ into, you can try to apply to your businesses and see how they can really run efficiently. And now this very timeless, we're going to get into our update number 2, and this time around we are looking at agent banking services in the rural areas. Definitely we get to realize that there are possible benefits that can arise as a result of that. But still, despite the fact that the campaign, of course, being underput in a way, undergoing the previous previous experiences with agent banking in rural areas have been a little bit very tricky and complex. And of course, the major one cited being the fact that participants urged to be sensitive over cyber fraud. So that means cyber fraud is one of the discoveries that are being really witnessed when it comes to agent banking in the rural areas. And also another aspect is limited infrastructure within the areas, which is still limiting a little bit of service delivery within the area. But definitely we anticipate that after such a very wonderful and amazing dialogue with the different CEOs of agent banking, that will be something very key when it comes to efficiency in the area. Remember, one of the ways that determine economic growth and development is the velocity of money. How does money really transfer from one hand to another? The faster, of course, it also boosts economic growth. Well, of course, I'll be joined with Joram ahead after this discussion, getting to find out what is the way forward regarding this and how best can this service be well delivered to the people. And we also need to understand, will this really answer the problems of money transfer in the rural areas? Well, that and more coming up. Stick around.
In terms of this study and the research that has been done and the initiatives we've been running in northern Uganda, the objective was really to make sure that we can drive financial inclusion, to make sure that Ugandans in northern Uganda can have access to financial services and that they can actually use those services. Now, for us to be able to achieve that, it is important for us to understand what is working, what is going well, what is delivering benefits for them, and also what is not working. So what are the challenges, what are some of the issues we need to address, and being able to hear from the agents, from the banks, from the customers, in terms of what it is that we can do better, or what more can we add to agent banking to make sure that we can achieve this goal of financial inclusion.
Okay, the findings.
Yes. So the findings are very important, and what we commit to do is to go away and work on them, and make sure that we can actually have a much smoother, a much more seamless customer and agent experience. I think you will appreciate that agent banking was launched fully in 2018, so it's only just about 5 years old. But if you look at the impact that has been achieved across the board, it is significant. If you think about the fact that before agent banking, we had less than 1,000 financial services outlets. So if you take ATMs, branches, that kind of thing, actually 1,700 at that time. Now we are sitting at 27,000 agents alone. That is significant, it's a delta, and we are only just getting started. So we're still very much in the initial stages. It's not yet a mature business, but we have great hopes. We think that there's many things we can do with this channel that can have a significant and transformational impact for Ugandans, particularly in rural communities, the unbanked, that you can actually have a real impact on people's lives.
Last week, we had a whole dedicated day on fraud and tried to find ways of making it painful, beyond, of course, awareness of the customer, beyond our systems and processes. But those who actually engage in fraud, once we get them, we must make it extremely painful. We are saying, can we, financial institutions, block those accounts so you can't operate an account? Can we publicize your face, name, so that even when you are traveling, it is difficult for you to travel out of the country or wherever, because you're defrauding the system. So the whole idea was, proposals came out, how do you make it painful for those people involved in fraud so that we minimize fraud? Because the financial system depends on confidence. Even these digital systems, mobile, everything, you trust. So if your trust is broken in that system, then it's chaos for the economy. So we are trying to find, beyond other control measures and proactiveness, as and when we get fraudsters, what measures can we take first as an industry, then the investigative arms of government, the police, the CID, the DPP, the judiciary, and other people, how can we share more information? Because remember, these fraudsters, they will hit one institution, hit another, they are the same clique, they have networks across, and we must make it painful for them to participate in fraud.
Basically, benefits, it took some time to get the benefit because the return was not instant. But as I talk now, we get commissions, and via the trainings and also coming here, we are getting more knowledge about financial management, fraudsters, and more about finance. So then the other issue is the social benefit, like getting to know many people. That is social capital. Other benefit is now like the secondary benefit, where I'm employing most of the youth, like three to four of them. So that's also another benefit that we are getting. But the challenges are quite many since we have just begun. The challenges, like we've talked of, the network problem, which is a challenge mostly in Uganda. Even if you go to the other bigger banks, you find that it is also a big challenge. So the network is a challenge because if it goes off like for 2 days, that's already dwindling down our profits. Macue, we are also renting, paying. So if it takes a week, in a month when the network is not there, your profits will go down. Then the other issue is also about some banks not updating their system up to date. You know, we are in a digital world. If you are behind, most of the services you will not be getting. So some banks have failed to join in the ABC, which is the agent banking company. So they are behind. So when clients come to do some other services, like URA payments or any other utility bill payments, you find that they are not in their system. And that is also another problem. We also have the fraudsters. The fraudsters are always using this opportunity because most of the agents have not yet come into terms with the agents banking. So they also take this opportunity to what? To strike their goals. Other challenges, as we talked of, banks being far from us, we have the liquidation and then float purchase. So if the banks are far from you, doing this transaction is a problem. You very well know that if you want to serve a customer, for example, if someone comes to withdraw and you don't have cash but you have float, you need again to go to the main bank to go and get cash. That is a liquidation. So it is a big challenge. I don't know how best other banks will do that so that we close that gap of float liquidation. There are quite many other challenges. We have talked of security. Security is a very big issue. So they are suggested of insurance companies, and you saw me supplementing about insurance. In Uganda, it is an issue. In case anything occurs, following it up takes time. You are in business. Insurance is giving you like a month to a year to give you back your claim. So generally there's a big problem with the security. So we have tried also to put other security measures by putting security cameras, maybe the guards, but it doesn't still work on well unless we look for other means. When you try to hire these of guns, it's also a problem because the cost of hiring them is high vis-a-vis the profits that you'll get at the end of the month. So those are basically some few challenges that we have with agent banking. Others are there, but right now these are the few I can.
That's agent banking in rural areas, and definitely we're getting to see that it's one probably of the ways that could develop, that could lead to development in those areas by providing financial inclusion. And definitely I'm joined with Joram here on set to discuss these further. Joram, very good morning. How is the morning? I know it's very rainy out there, and it was
to the business community in Uganda, rain is I think it's the biggest hindrance to outdoor. Not even outdoor businesses. Every business here.
You're right.
I think it's only people who own cars who are never, disadvantaged by rains. And if at all your vehicle is in good conditions, because even when it's raining, it's likely for your vehicle to get messy.
It's flooding.
Exactly.
When you try
So, by the look of things, I think rain has never been a good starter for a day.
Man, I know.
And in the African narrative, rain is a blessing. But sometimes when a blessing overflows, you have to be thankful. But again, when it starts raining as early as 6 in the morning, that is like disrupting a little bit of the business. In Africa, our kind of businesses in Africa are mainly centered around physical movement. So such businesses are always, first of all, the employees will reach late at work, most of them. It's only those, like I said, who own vehicles who will reach in time, and of course, who look like they will not be disadvantaged. But anyway, like the business community, you will clearly see that even now, even if you moved out of your home or anywhere, you realize people are rushing to work. Nevertheless, because they still have to make money.
When it stops, most cases when it stops to rain, and people now start to move out.
And it's highly expected the traffic jam will be shooting up.
It's been tight from where but it's been really a lot. Well, now getting straight to our point in here, agent banking in rural areas. We see this aspect of financial inclusion. Of course, it's a drive that has been moving. We've seen it amongst women, but now we're seeing it to rural areas. It's a very good drive. And we really anticipate that it will cause. Of course, it's already been there. But the stakeholders have been really witnessing a few challenges. The agent bankers themselves are citing out the issue of cyber fraud, and some of them are not informed about these security areas in the rural areas.
Well, first, I think we have to first of all recognize the idea that with the agent banking, it has at least made it possible for people in rural areas to at least access banking services. Because most of the banks that we have, most of the commercial banks that we do have less branches in rural areas.
Very true.
Even
That's true.
if you remember, was it Crane Bank? I think Crane Bank was one of those banks that had many branches across the country. And theirs was, they always had to build their own building or set up own structures. But nevertheless, it was only across the regions, not in all districts, because the infrastructure is a bit expensive. But when you look at agent banking, first you would say it has been an answer to the rural area, especially where banks do not set up branches, because of the fact that even in rural areas, not most of the people were interested in banking.
By the way,
most people were interested
people don't even use banking services.
Most of them are still more conservative with SACCOs.
Exactly.
They believe SACCOs are better, and you save with the SACCO and everything. But because of the developments that come up, we now have a couple of cities across the country. The more developments go through, and the more people start traveling, because now I've realized there are people who actually set to do up country work. These are people who've been living in Kampala. Now moving up country to do all this kind of business has helped these kind of people to at least to
make the banking services relevant.
So the trends have actually moved in, but with the agent banking, it makes it possible. It is it is because I've seen agent banks close at around 8 p.m. by the way.
Even actually, because it's your you decide.
Most of them close at 8 p.m. Because of security matters. 7 to 8 by the way. It is 7. Most of them are 7. Then the others. 8 is when they are balancing and all that, but transactions stop at around 7. This is it is actually giving you an opportunity that it's even more convenient. With banks, 5 a.m. they're already closing. By 4, banks are closing doors for people who are entering. They're only working on those who already entered.
Inside,
And when it comes to this kind of week, the last week of the month and the first week of the new month, it becomes tight in a bank. But when you look at the issue here, some of the challenges. Now we look at agent banking as a solution to some of the challenges that banks have failed to meet, or some of the expectations these particular commercial banks have failed to meet. The stakeholders in there, because normally people in rural areas, like we mentioned, not all of them prefer using banks in any way.
That is
so
very true.
It's very limited. These are because of limited, let's say, access to these banking services and everything. So to them, they would prefer SACCOs. Now, as well, when you look at the agent banks, here some of the highlights have been the limited infrastructure.
Limited infrastructure.
Or you would say
even road networks.
Road networks,
like accessibility
of
the service.
There is something to do with security.
Security.
Yes, because we may actually look at cyber fraud and everything, but this the issue to do with security, which is entirely about your premises.
Where
because
you're operating from. You're dealing with money.
Because with these agent banks, most of them actually deal with mobile money as well. Others actually also do some forex services. You find them doing, but maybe in the rural areas it is only mobile money and
agent
banking, deposit and withdraw. But when you're dealing with money which crosses to millions, trust me, even mobile money agents, that is why most of them close in time. Close before it is late because they know you cannot trust anyone with money. And when it is in the rural setting where most of the businesses close very early, so it becomes another big challenge. But of course the other issue would be infrastructure. The kind of infrastructure also needs to represent because it is shocking that you'll find an agent bank in a container. And you know these kind of containers, they are very small. It looks like a mobile money. And then someone is an agent banker, and then you're like, wow, how does he save money here? It looks like we are, this is one of the issues that most of them actually are facing, some of those key challenges. But maybe you may realize it's someone who is starting up their business. First of all, you have to get a license and all that. But I think this regulation should as well work on on making sure that people have better infrastructure. But also making this, at least putting in place some kind of I want to believe the reason as to why most of them start from smaller premises is because they don't have money to maintain the bigger premises. But we really need to now look at agent banking because it does look like it's the way forward, the way to go, and banks are already embracing it lately, and they are supportive.
My worry, talking about if they try to make them seem like,
major banks.
We might end up returning back to that jam track, because there's an agent banking which I know.
Yeah.
Hey, but when you go there,
Okay, it may lose the sense of it being a mobile.
It seems
banking
like now you're going
situation.
to a bank.
Yeah,
So of course,
I know.
there is for some bank which I know. I went to, actually yesterday I was there, but still there was a line. I'm like, it's like a stamp.
No, it's that time of the month.
Yeah, but when I go to these normal ones, there are these ones you find isolated. You find that you're either two people or you are the only person there that maybe the only aspect would be the location, to ensure that unless you put it in a place whereby, because it wouldn't be good
when it's not isolated, especially when you're dealing with money with lots of money. You shouldn't have a business that is isolated from the other business people. Because first of all, the business transaction, you're supposed to be next to where the business is.
Exactly.
That is where you get your money from, and those are your target people.
Exactly.
That is the market you're targeting. Because it's better you put it in the CBD of it, for example, a region or a town center, because someone is going to save money from their shop or supermarket. Save with the bank, and
different shops around. It's like how you see different mobile monies. They can be in that form. An agent banking is here, one is there, and trust me, everyone will have. People seem to trust banks more than Airtel money, saving their money. So that means chances are high they will go there to deposit and also to keep with their banks. Because when you tell somebody save your money in the bank, what comes to their mind is that now going back there. You see now what Zabo did. Made it simpler, mobile. You can buy shares, no more paperwork, because that's what people fear. Now, how am I going to start? Now, you tell me to save with a banker. Some people think I have to go meet the bank manager. Okay, yes. You may definitely open up an account.
Things have changed lately. You can open up an account even with this banking assistant somewhere.
Exactly.
Because banks now normally send these people out there to help you out start up an account. Because they've come to realize the reason that's why, because Ugandans don't want things that always
stress them out, make them wait.
They're very impatient people. So you always have to make sure, you have to make sure that you create a simpler way for them.
All right, well, still having these discussions, of course, business. And of course, I guess you're getting something out of this and getting some information regarding this. But all this, don't forget, it's all powered by Zabu. Definitely just there, step 292#. As you'll be available with lots of options. You can buy government bonds or securities. Now that is on Altex. Any of your choice with as little as 15,000. That is Ugandan shillings. As I speak right now, the market's already open, and that is they opened actually at 8:15 a.m. and they will be closing at 3:15. No, they open at 8:15 a.m. and they're going to be closing at 3:15 p.m. That is East African time, Monday till Friday. Of course, that's the timing for the trade, except from the weekends and also the public holidays when the markets are not they're not operational. That's according to the company policies. At any place you will be at, no more excuses why you shouldn't own shares. My money, my future. Zabu, Altex East Africa, do something new. Well, 28 minutes past 8, and let's get into a short commercial break. Definitely, when we return, we have quite a very, very packaged for you. A very, very amazing package from the world of entertainment and also sports business at the same time. Stick around. Very good morning.